Hi, Professor. This is Sophia Moda. This is my multimodal project on the commercial Like a Girl. My thesis for this project is, in the commercial Like a Girl, always utilizes the appeals of pathos, ethos, and logos, as well as a feminist lens to effectively motivate not just women, but everyone in society to reclaim the stereotype like a girl and turn away from traditional gender roles. By reinventing this phrase into a term of endearment and encouragement, society is able to disassociate it with the meanings of weakness and mediocrity. To sum up, this advertisement by Always is about the phrase like a girl and how our perception of that phrase has been interpreted over time to be derogatory and sexist towards females. The message that Always is trying to convey is that like a girl shouldn't be seen as an insult but something to be proud of.
Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm going to just give you some actions to do, and just do the first thing that comes to mind. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
It's like hair.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl. Aww.
So I'm going to stop here so we can talk about how this section shows how we live in a patriarchal society. The people in this commercial, which I think is important to point out, are all either young females or they showed a little boy and a man, and they were all asked to perform actions like a girl. They do it in a mocking way, and it shows how as a society we perceive female athleticism and how we see it as inferior, which directly correlates with traditional gender roles. In Lois Tyson's Critical Theory Today, she states that traditional gender roles cast men as rational, strong, protective, and divisive. They cast women as emotional, weak, nurturing, and submissive. Based on the definition, we can see that the phrase like a girl portrays women as inferior to men when dealing with athleticism. It portrays women in a derogatory light and expresses the fact that they are weak and they can't perform in comparison to men. So if doing something like a girl is seen as weak and mediocre, then doing something like a boy, in this case, would be seen as done well and efficiently and powerfully, which goes to show how society values men more than women.
My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you?
In this section, the commercial shows little girls being asked the same question as the group before them, which included older individuals. This part of the advertisement is exemplifying ethos, which is the appeal to ethics and values of the audience. The little girls are asked to do the same things like a girl, and they perform these actions with force and determination because they haven't been exposed to this phrase as an insult the same way that society has shaped the older individuals. The difference in the responses between the two age groups shows how children don't yet have a misconception of doing things like a girl because they see it as derogatory. The girls themselves are viewing it with a feminist lens because they interpret like a girl to mean just doing it as themselves because they are girls. They don't view it as something insulting or inferior because it shouldn't be. This appeals to the audience's beliefs and morals and how this affects a girl's self-esteem.
When I say run like a girl,
It means run fast as you can.
so do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. Yeah, insulted girls, but not my sister.
Is like a girl a good thing?
Actually, I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. It sounds like a bad thing. It sounds like you're trying to humiliate someone.
The little girls are using logos in the way that they interpret the phrase like a girl. The responses show that they haven't established a bias because when they first hear it, they logically believe it is something positive and competitive because they haven't been exposed to it as an insult. But later on, another girl says it sounds like an insult and a way to humiliate someone. The way our patriarchal society has been set up makes this phrase an insult that puts girls down instead of lifting them up. Helen Chizot states in her book, Sororities and Out and Out, that if women has always functioned within man's discourse, a signifier referring always to the opposing signifier, that alienated part energy put down or stifles its very different sounds, now it is time for her to displace this within, overturn it, grab it, make it hers, and you will see how easily she will well up from his within, where she was hidden and dormant, to the lips where her foam will overflow. Chizot basically saying that women have been accustomed to the way patriarchal men think, and they need to take what is being said and instead change it in order to benefit themselves. In this case, it would be to change the phrase like a girl and turn it into a term of endearment and empowerment for women.
So when they're in that vulnerable time between 10 and 12, how do you think it affects them when somebody uses like a girl as an insult?
I think it definitely drops their self-confidence and really puts them down, because during that time they're already trying to figure themselves out, and when somebody says you hit like a girl, it's like, well, what does that mean? Because they think they're a strong person. It's kind of like telling them that they're weak and they're not as good as them.
And what advice do you have to young girls who are told they run like a girl, kick like a girl, hit like a girl, swing like a girl?
Keep doing it, because it's working. If somebody else says that running like a girl or kicking like a girl or shooting like a girl is something that you shouldn't be doing, that's their problem. Because if you're still scoring and you're still getting to the ball in time and you're still being first, you're doing it right. It doesn't matter what they say. I mean, yes, I kick like a girl and I swim like a girl and I walk like a girl and I wake up in the morning like a girl because I am a girl. And that's not something that I should be ashamed of. So I'm going to do it anyway.
The commercial here is invoking pathos, which is the appeal to emotions of an audience. Always is using pathos through the monologue of one of the older girls here, who changes the meaning of the phrase and shows the audience how it should have been viewed and interpreted in the first place. When she states, I kick like a girl and I swim like a girl, etc., she's using the same phrase but instead with a different outlook, which makes it really powerful because it shows the idea that there isn't anything wrong with doing something like a girl. It establishes the idea that females should embrace and be proud of doing something like a girl. Participating in sports is already something that is geared toward males, and by using the phrase like a girl to make fun of someone, it makes it harder for girls to feel included and confident. It supports the idea that when women are subordinate to men when it comes to physical activity, which is what Always is trying to change by bringing awareness to this cruel phrase. This portrays feminist ideas because it says that doing something like a girl should be accepted and should be something that women are proud of and confident in, which is something that as a society we lack. This idea can be shown in Chapter 11 of Women in Sports Policy by Parissa Safai. It mentions that in the chapter that while women participation in things such as sports governance, sports leadership, and coaching has gone up overall, there is underrepresentation of women in sports in Canada, despite the fact that slightly more than half of all people living in Canada are women.
That's what they should do.
If I asked you to run like a girl now, would you do it differently?
I would run like myself.
Would you like a chance to redo it?
Yeah. Why can't run like a girl also mean win the race?
The advertisement ends with the statement that why can't run like a girl also mean win the race. This shows that Always wants the audience to see that the phrase like a girl can and should be used to lift girls up and exemplify female empowerment. This can be supported by the article called What is Third Wave Feminism by Claire Snyder. In the article, it states that third wave feminism continues the efforts of the second wave feminism to create conditions of freedom, equality, justice, and self-actualization for all people by focusing on gender-related issues in particular. Always displays this idea in their advertisement by turning its audience and asking them to seek out equality for girls by changing the meaning of like a girl, which is gender-related issue. This commercial provides the message that society needs to turn away from its patriarchal views and embrace this phrase by making it into something encouraging for all girls. Always is able to do this through the feminist lens and the rhetorical strategies of ethos, pathos, and logos.